going on? What's going on, y'all? Yeah, I guess that I don't know why they're messing with notifications. Well, we all know why, but anyway. Go ahead and get this reading in. I had to make me some that mushroom coffee and some watermelon. I had to go slice me up a little bit. I got this other one. I was looking for the kind of grape, the yellowish ones. They used to have them over there at Sprouts. She said, no, we sold those out the moment they came in. I said, oh, here we go. This lady had been working there for a long time. Somebody I know. Everybody else is like college students, foreign and all that kind of stuff. She was like, I haven't seen you in a while. I said, well, that's because I'm getting everything from people's farms that I left. And some people, they weld electric coal fire plants where I used to work with Local 4. I'm still a union member. I just, my disabilities, man, like my back. That's why it's important that I continue to do what I'm doing. Because ain't no pill going to fix it. All they want to do is medicate you. You dig what I'm saying? If they heal people, people be working. But see, the thing is, these people are sick. They want to enslave people. So it is what it is. So I had to dip into my bag of tricks. Put a little bit of raw honey in there. If your insulin factor's messed up and, you have a hard time with carbohydrates and stuff, people stay away from the sugar and don't be eating after 5 or 6 o'clock. Like, I know a lot of people, like, they have pizza and they be like, they're hungry. And instead of making a green salad, getting a stalk of celery and an apple, a pear of people, I know they're a little different from what they used to be. Eat that instead, I mean, we know it's glycogen, but it's not that the syrupy, the stuff that's hard for your body to process. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get into this reading. I wanted to make sure a few people came in before I started. And that's when I gave him his little treat. I'm going to give him his other one later on. That would be it. I was just sitting here reading some stuff, me, and got carried away reading. Had my music playing, and I turned the music off, just wanted silence while I read. It's the best thing in the world. Trust me. This is Rise, for anybody that don't know. I had just ordered another 2, so I hope there's no funny business. I hope they don't tamper with it. You know what I mean? People do a lot of strange for the change. You dig? All right. This right here, when I listen to it's no copyright, and it runs every day, all day. It's like lofi jazz music, instrumental. Whew. First, I want to read 100 Years of Lynching. There's 2 short ones, and then the one that I wanted to read, which is not really long, but it's short as well. So this is 100 Years of Lynching by Ralph Ginsberg. You can look the individual up and see them. Okay. Who's up here? Yo, what's up, Westside? T. Hans, what's going on? Rondo, Snoo, Andy Reela. Yo, what's going on, beloveds? So, salute. Let's go ahead and get it in. I'm not going to be all crazy long because I do want to come back and read a couple times. I'm not going nowhere. He's got to come pick up the cashier's check, and I'm not going nowhere. It's raining. Just let up a little bit, but you know what it is. Seasonal change. Now, if we get some more 3-digit days, you know what's going on. I don't want to lament and give it any energy, and every day they're proving more and more. They even returned to Orange, which called California, where they had that fire. How many years ago was that? It's been a while, where they melted all aluminum. They returned to that to show you that this has been ongoing. They have been flying around, these Air Force bucks, right? Excuse my language. These individuals work for the air. Well, it's a secret government. It's an extended arm. It's like a separate Air Force from this one. Blazing people houses up, murdering people who have intel they don't want to get out. You'd be surprised how many houses are blown up with certain important people in them. Literally, I mean, blew up. Like Pennsylvania, Philly. Oh man, and New Jersey and all around there. There's all kind of ex-special forces guys, ex-CIA, people who are just not riding with this fake government, and a lot of them are, on the line. So they returned to that, and I was grateful to see somebody said do that, because I was mentioning it the other day. I was like, you remember I was talking about The same thing with, aluminum melts at around 1200, 13, 1200 degree, 1300 degree. At fires, even a forest fire don't get that hot, y'all. Even at its most roaring temperature. Just doesn't get that hot. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this reading. So, excuse me. Atlanta Constitution, October 2nd, 1921. Shot for alleged insult. Quitman, Georgia, October 1st. Ray Newsom, a Negro, was taken from the H.A. Woods farm near Pineda, Florida, late today and shot to death as he was either turned loose or escaped from the car. He was accused of insulting a white girl. We know no such thing as a white girl exists, but when I read these names, if you want to take notes, go back as far as you can and look at people who had land, property, and their big houses, and they've done their best to eradicate that history. But for those of you who live in the South and stuff like that, you can pull up those documents and you can see that it was more to it than the stat. Because to single a person out and to corral him into a corner and to extract, you know what I'm saying? Because some of these individuals fought back. And you'll see some of that I'm reading here. Now, Baltimore Herald, October 19th, 1921. Lots drawn for souvenirs of lynched Negro's anatomy. Lots drawn, okay? You know what that means, right? Leesburg, Texas, October 11th. Willie McNeely, a 19-year-old Negro, was burned alive here last night, accused by a mob of 500 of having 500 against one little 19-year-old man, of having assaulted an 18-year-old and off doctrine. There's nothing African about them. Assaulted an 18-year-old girl. This was to send a message to anybody who has a problem with what they've been doing, okay? There's always an excuse, a made-up one. You see the cops do it all the time. Alive here last night, accused by a mob of 500 of having assaulted an 18-year-old girl as he was chained to an old buggy axle which had been driven into the ground to serve as a stake. He was heard to proclaim his innocence. Just before he was fired up, leaders of the mob drew lots for the part of the Negro's anatomy, which they regarded as the choicest souvenir. They obviously wouldn't want souvenirs of Africans. Nowhere have I read that any of the known people to be related as far as an African, ever have I seen any of them, whether Arab or whoever, a lot of them mixed breed, ever murdered. It's always the American Negro. When we know there's a different name, we know that these Pelicans are stupid, except for the rebel rousers who created these schemes, like a Ponzi, a lie, to steal or take a life for land. Houston Post, November 19th, 1921. Remember now, stay within character. Don't let your feelings and emotions get the best of you. That's a weakness. Lynch, shoot, burn, Negro. Helena, Arkansas, November 18th. Will Turner, Negro, charged with an assault on a young white woman here Friday, pale skin, Friday, was taken by a mob from a sheriff's posse. While being removed to Mariana for safekeeping, and after being shot to death by members of the mob, his body was brought back here and burned in the city park. Turner was arrested soon after making the attack on the young woman and lodged in jail here. Feelings against him was so high that Sheriff Mays ordered Tex Graves and John Rabb, two deputies, to take the Negro to Mariana for safekeeping. The deputies were held up a short distance from this city by a mob of 25 or 30 armed men who demanded the Negro. Turner, according to the officers, was taken into the woods nearby and his body riddled with bullets. Another mob had armed in front of the jail here and threatened to storm the building unless the Negro was turned over to them. The second mob refused to believe Sheriff Mays when he told them that Turner had already been killed by a mob outside the city. They were pacified. Only when the brother of the victim of the attack was allowed to make an examination of the jail. The second mob waited for Turner's body to be brought back to the city by the first mob, and surrounding the ambulance in which it had been placed, dragged out the body and carried it to the city park opposite the courthouse, where gasoline was poured over it and the body was destroyed. Okay. Nowhere in here does it say anything about Africans. This is an Ashkenazi. It alludes to the fact that heirs of the land. We haven't been wrong in our dissertation about Cabbage Patch Babies, all the orphans from Greater Tartary brought over here, the Mongols, and them being of a mixed diaspora, only to be put in the field and worked, as we have read in the Gods of Eden and a couple other books about how the Anunnaki wanted these humans to be field workers or slaves, to do the arduous work that they refused to do, per se. And these and the custodians as well, who are laborers, who do not see themselves as laborers. It is well known that all over this continent, to take the souvenir of an Atlantean was the most prominent thing. Most of the people doing it did not have the fear of the retaliation, which was known to happen in many parts still. Just in certain parts, it was unknown because of migrations and certain individuals not knowing that they were to migrate. And when they don't know this, and they've been working after such calamity and reared and nurtured, and you see the 1920s, that means he didn't know nothing about who's still alive. Some of his ancestors who were part of the greater wars, Tartary, and who still knew he was in a certain area based on religion. So everybody has an idea of why I have this stalemate and this distaste for religion. And because 99.9% don't really practice it. They're self-inflicting. They have this deluge of portraying something and lying at the same time, because if you get under their skin, they lash out. And then they want to quote the Bible as if it makes it all right, when nowhere in there does it state that. See, this is what I'm talking about. 99.9% of the people who say they practice, I wouldn't have no problem if you practice your religion to its fullness. The only problem is none of you do. And violence is based upon your emotions steeped in a reaction. Therefore, you don't even know what you read. And so many, IUC, all of them misquote the Bible for personal gains. Anyway, Terra Infinita, to extraterrestrial worlds and their civilizations. The story told by the woman who was born in the lands behind the ice walls. Nos Confoundum. And as you know, this is Claudio Naselli. And this is the book. Just to let you know, the next one we're going to read, I'm glad that he put out another one. I'm trying to get it, but I guess it's selling like hotcakes. And I'm not getting the one in Spanish. The Land of Mars. This is the last one to this, unless I get the fourth one. Excuse me. Correct my date. Oh, there we go. Chapter 21, the Near Lands. And as you can see, it looks like they don't have an ice wall, so therefore there must be something good about that. Our lands have a name different from everything that has been named in the stories, and surely much of the continents abroad as well, although many keep the spirit of the great stories and battles that may never happen. I will not annihilate his dream or confuse it with names. Besides, I prefer that my lands remain for the moment with the name that some know it, Ancestral Republic. It's fine as it represents what we are, the surviving human ancestors prior to the last reset. Excuse me. We are your ancestors. Although the lands were different before the walls of ice, our parents and grandparents were born, fought, and some died here. You cannot imagine how many stories are told in my lands about the great heroes that were forged here. Just as heroes were born in my lands, who have done great deeds in these regions. How is it that you speak English? What is the language used in your lands? In my lands, a different language is spoken, native, especially in the main city, but we speak several languages of your lands. Our parents escaped from these lands to start again in the outer lands. They escaped from all corners of this world that you know. Then in the other lands, different communities were created. But at the beginning, when this happened, each community was divided precisely by their culture. They began to create their own language and their own culture to generate links, and that there are no divisions between ancestral humans. Then, as time went by, many already used our native language and even forgot the language of their father or grandfather. This happens more, as I said, frequently in the big cities, but we try not to lose the connection with the past. Why did your parents escape? Or rather, from what or from whom were they escaping? They escaped from the worst war that has ever happened here, and they did it because there was no other alternative. Escape or die, for all was lost. Forgive me for getting emotional when I talk about this subject. My grandfather died in the battle, as so many millions of others did too. My mother escaped being very small in my grandmother's arms, and the giants saved many people. For that, we are eternally grateful. Next one we'll get into will be the giants of the Great Tartary who wanted to liberate humans. You'll like this one. And I'll do my best not to slip and bypass you guys. So what I want to do is right to the Anunnaki and then William Cooper. The other one we'll read later because I want to read a little bit of Emerald Tablets. Excuse me. Y'all, when I do that, it's the Oyster Box. I used to do that same head thing Mike Tyson did in the high school wrestling. We all had to get up on the mat and do that rolling back and forth, and in football with the helmet on. And it created neck problems with every one of us. It's even in the military, I had to do the same thing on those little cotton mats we had to box on in the hangar bays. Yeah, you know, we had the rings, smokers and stuff. We put all this. We had roll out these things from the wall that were like, what you call it, in the gym. And we did the same thing warming up, rolling back on our necks, side to side, just to, you know, take the hits. And I tell you, man, so whenever you see me driving or whatever, you see me go like this, it's because I'm cracking my neck. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. So again, apologies for the interruption. The very minor, small, what was that? Intermission. That's right, it's Friday. Anyway, it's funny, it's Friday and not a whole lot of folk came, y'all. But it's still early. Usually they're here, like unloading to the Airbnbs. Reptilians in the History of Humankind, the Anunnaki, by Henry Crane. As y'all know, did y'all look him up? I know any of y'all look him up? I think Snoo did. Let's get right to it. Get another sip of this excellent coffee. It's pretty good, guys. I prefer, you know what? I actually can drink it without the honey, and it's kind of a bitter, which is better for you. But I put like a tablespoon in there. It's perfect. A little bit of cinnamon. It's really good. Okay, here we go. Crack! I hear it all in my head. The Draconians led Anu. If you remember when we were talking about the Lulu's humans, them being given the knowledge, Okay. The Draconians led Anu, Enlil, and Enki alongside other 13 Anunnaki to Orion, into a machine that would take them to the 5th dimension. And the Anunnaki who refused to leave were left on a moon of Jupiter, now known under the name of Europe, or Europa. It says Europe, where they were used as slaves in the huge bases that the Draconians had in that satellite. So there's somebody bigger than them. Well, we already know there's certain individuals they just won't mess with. Now the plan went on, and the reptile Anunnaki were transferred from Orion to the 4th dimension. It took the Anunnaki almost 500 Earth years to adapt their body to this new dimension. Now once done, Enki began to try to connect with the dreams of humans, to communicate with them. It took him some time, but he was successful. He managed to connect through the phase with 2 humans, one man located on the European continent, paradoxically, and the less developed of the continent at that time, and also communicated with one of the Essenes disciples, the Essenes people. Enki knew that not being present among humans and only being able to communicate with a few who had the gift, knowledge would have to be passed from man to man and from generation to generation. So he first pass a lot of knowledge on to the first man in Europe, and later asked him to form a group of 10 more men to whom he should convey all the knowledge acquired, and finally ordered that each of those men began to instruct and teach others. Now the younger, the best. Okay? Now thus the first schools were born, and the first masters and first apprentices. Now this method was so effective, and the knowledge delivered by Enki was so vast, that just over 600 years, this group of wise humans had already created the great Greek civilization, where one of the pillars was the transmission of knowledge. And the government was focused on the decisions of the people, and it was the first civilization that did not have slaves. Parallel to this, during this time, he was transmitting knowledge to the Essenes that managed to communicate with him.
Serious.
Yeah, that ignorant. Anyway, it was the first civilization that did not have slaves. Parallel to this, during this time, he was transmitting knowledge to the Essenes that managed to communicate with him, focused on increasing their psychic and spiritual power, to which you really need to be working on, people. Generation after generation, he tried to share their knowledge so that they could evolve, since his plan was that some of them could become Christified. It's not a religion. It means higher. That is, reach nirvana. I never read that part. And show the way to all humankind for their liberation and evolution. And it's important because he loved us. Remember, some of them had empathy and sympathy and cared and loved us. That's why they became slaves. While the Essenes had managed a physical and spiritual breakthrough as the power to heal with their hands, telekinesis, etc., sounds and all that, they had not been able to even touch the Christification line. Enki became aware that the problem was in the codons of the DNA that humans had connected that did not allow them to activate their pineal gland. This plan of Enki was very ambitious, as it achieved human beings could come to overtake the Anunnaki. While this was happening with Enki, Anu and the other Anunnaki managed to communicate with the humans who performed the rituals twice a year, once in the equinox and another on the solstice. In fact, those who performed these rituals were mostly hybrids that had been trained by and were faithful to the Anunnaki, and they were basically ordered to introduce human sacrifices in Asia, which followed the massacres of the Akkadians, oppression in Egypt, etc. We're gonna stop right there, because that in lieu goes to some other information, actually. So I hope that you don't mind that. It's a pretty long. Well, actually, I can read this one because it'll keep the juices moist. The Anunnaki continue manipulating humankind to be always in conflict, and thus, as you see the two individuals distinct, whereas Asia Superior, also called India Superior, if you think it's just so-called North America, I call it nowhere now. No, it's all of it. Phil, which I know y'all have a hard time with, it's not my problem. There was names before that. That's the last of what I know. Unless you want to go all the way back to Atlantis or Atlanteans. Anyway, the Anunnaki continue manipulating humankind to be always in conflict, and thus they could capture the subtle negative energies of the human. These negative energies were trapped by the Anunnaki in the fourth dimension, and with some containers that the Draconians gave them. Once filled, they were carried by Enki to Orion and delivered to the Draconians. Although on many occasions the Draconians themselves arrived in the fourth dimension to pick up these containers. Negative energy collected from humans was much smaller than the one that existed when the Anunnaki were on Earth. And this bothered the Draconians, since their farm, did not give the benefits that they expected. So they told Anu to introduce the concept of money and told him that all human transactions had to be replaced with metal balls. Then Anu ordered the hybrids in one of their rituals to introduce the concept of money and the currency around the world. I heard it. Hold on. That was late because of you. All up in there with your big head. It just fell over, that's all. Where the chair was at. Okay, that's good, right? That's excellent information, isn't it? The paradigm of that. So let's go ahead and get in this right here. So later on, I'm going to read a little bit of the Emerald Tablets. I'm not big on that book, so I ordered another one. I actually paid for it myself. Because everything written by a nigga that's Kappa Phi, Delta Phi, whatever, not Delta Phi Delta, but Kappa and all that Q shit, I detest them. Okay? But we're going to read that. And we'll read that with the Gods of Eden, a little bit of George Jones. Yeah, I really do. I detest their stuff. Not saying that you don't have to read it. I'm not saying that. Well, the information is so misleading. That is splendid. So, Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper. There's the man himself. The Mark, the Beast, the Legend. Oh, let up raining. And it is now 84 degrees in here. Cool. Now, check this out. George Bush agreed to help and organize the operation in conjunction with the CIA. Now, you got to remember last time we were talking about 1959 and all around this China, Vietnam, the wars, and the offshore divisions of Zapata oil and all the other things. You know what I'm saying? So it was giving a basis to further extrapolate or a better interpretation of what's going on. You know, not just the Warren Commission and all that other crap, okay? So George Bush agreed to help and organize the operation in conjunction with the CIA. Okay? The plan worked better than anyone had dreamed. It has since expanded worldwide. There are now many other methods of bringing the illegal drugs into the country. It must always be remembered that George Bush began the sale of drugs to our children. You know, Iran-Contra and all that. The CIA now controls most of the world's illegal drug markets. And the official space program was boosted by President Kennedy in his inaugural address when he mandated that the United States put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. Now, although innocent, and it's somebody asked me, "Well, if you're flat Earth and you believe the moon's up there," and I says, I never said nobody can land up there. It's who and how that they're distributing. They're telling you they're doing it. No, it's not. Every vehicle you see them building, ain't nobody sitting in them things. That's for rocket weapon deliveries that are outside of this circumference. I said, stop being so dumb. But people don't have an imagination no more. They can't foresee or perceive anything. If you think that they are not being instructed to reach beyond or to continue to fracture, that's why I say that what y'all call the Milky Way in our ancient stories, it is the common or the serpent's tail for the serpent people. Something that stopped them and made them even more angry and caused havoc down here, as if the creator of creation itself would come down because of that. That shows you that they are stupid, no matter the pain and suffrage. But you go back to a wonderful place, the majority. Anyway, although innocent in its conception, this mandate enabled those in charge to funnel vast amounts of money into black projects and conceal the real space program from the American people. The real space program. A similar program in the Soviet Union served the same purpose. In fact, a joint alien United States and Soviet Union base existed on the moon at the very moment Kennedy spoke the words. On May 22nd, who remembers Buzz Aldrin saying, "Oh, it rings like it's hollow"? On May 22nd, 1962, a space probe landed on Mars and confirmed the existence of an environment that could support life. Remember, nobody lives on Mars. Why? Remember the Great Wars? Remember what we was reading? Is it possible? Is it plausible? Is it truthful? I don't know. What do you say? Have you been doing your research? Or have you been besieged by all the fake stuff out there without knowing what to look at or where to look for it? Not long afterward, the construction of a colony on the planet Mars began in earnest. Today, I believe a colony exists on Mars, populated by specially selected people from different cultures and occupations taken from all over the Earth. A public charade of antagonism between the Soviet Union and the United States has been maintained all over these years in order to fund projects in the name of national defense when, in fact, we are the closest allies. At some point, President Kennedy discovered portions of the truth concerning the drugs and the aliens. He issued an ultimatum in 1963 to Majesty 12, and President Kennedy assumed that then assured them, okay, that if they did not clean up the drug problem, he informed Majesty 12 that he intended to reveal the presence of aliens to the American people within the following year in order to plan be developed to implement his decision. President Kennedy was not a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and knew nothing of Alternative 2 or Alternative 3. Although some researchers claim JFK was a member of the CFR, okay, the Council of Foreign Relations, I can find no legitimate list with his name on it. Internationally, the operations were supervised by the Bilderberg Elite Committee, known as the Policy Committee. They've changed their names since then. And in the United States, they weren't. We know the United States. There's no N here. The United States is not an organization. It's a corporation. But if you said the U.S. of America, it'd be different. You got to remember, Mr. William Cooper, as fluent as he was with all the information from his background, he was still ignorant about a lot of things. So can't bite him in the foot or the hand. Internationally, the operations were supervised by the Bilderberg Elite. Okay. Now, anyway, as far as the United States, they were supervised by the Executive Committee of the CFR. All right. The Council on Foreign Relations, and in the Soviet Union by his sister organization, KGB, I guess. Well, there's another one, I forget the name. Now, President Kennedy's decision struck fear into the hearts of those in charge. His assassination was ordered by the Policy Committee, and the order was carried out by agents in Dallas. President John F. Kennedy was murdered by the Secret Service agent who drove his car in the motorcade, and the act is plainly visible in the Zapruder film. Watch the driver and not Kennedy when you view the film. All of the witnesses who were close enough to the car to see William Greer shoot Kennedy were themselves all murdered within 2 years. Yes, they were, except for, you know who, Miss Rockefeller herself, the babushka lady of the event. The Warren Commission was a farce, and the Council on Foreign Relations members made up the majority of this panel, and they succeeded in snowing the American people. They say with great power comes great responsibility, but also with great power comes something else. What do I always say? You have the perversions of it, okay? Let's keep it simple. So let me shout everybody out who came in. Hey, Matthew Topping, how are you? Buzz Aldrin, we explore or we aspire. This is Aldrin about why humanity needs to reach Mars. We have been stuck in low Earth orbit for too long, and I believe that we need to break this malaise. Yeah, and Mars is another landmass where, you know, Admiral Byrd and all them people over there are fighting each other like some great experiment. Though they can live to be 300 or 400, maybe 500 years now. It's crazy. All the Bushes were horrible, unfortunately. Yes, they were. All of them. Matter of fact, everyone before Kennedy and even after Kennedy has been horrible. All the fake government since 1875, and right at the kick of 1934. That's why I laugh when people would start naming names. I'm like, yeah, y'all keep calling those people, and those are Negro names. They ain't no pale skin with them names, and everybody's running around because, you know, Mr. Rockefeller, the family, and the OSS created an education system to make sure that history was, again, changed right in the presence of everybody as the elders were being murdered, slaughtered, drowned. Yes, you know, punch bowl, they gave one punch bowl when there was probably 100 of them. It's amazing how most people are pretty liberal in their ignorance of the truth of history, unless you actually knew somebody from that time period who would say otherwise. And they didn't say a whole lot of words, like we just mumble and jumble today. That's all we do. And everybody doing this don't know a damn thing. Trust me, I sit around a lot of them and I'm like, it's time to evacuate. Exfil. And that's what I do. I get the heck up out of there because I can't listen to all the foolishness. And they really reside in this fake, what do you call it? A culpable gestation sack of agreed stupidity. I just can't do it. You know? There's nothing to figure out here, brother. You're gonna learn some things, or you can go elsewhere. It's all love here, and we tribe. Nothing to figure out. You got to figure yourself out is what you got to figure out. I'm very direct too. Indigo Turret, what's going on, beloved? Herbo, yeah. Yeah, pay the rifle on mine. I see it's back there. It's all. I built that about a couple of years ago. It's all right. They can go no higher than a. Yep. Well, that's at least that's what we've been led to believe. As I stated, our people can't even hit in the dreams. They have been lied to by Hollywood and all the other stuff that dreams are just dreams when dreams are more than that. Because they don't want you to reconnect. They don't want you to reach your highest self. They want you to accept everything that they've given you. And if you accept everything they've given you, that's why most people die. They fight and die over nothing because of their ignorance. And then when somebody comes along that actually can help direct them in a direction, that way they can be more resourceful for themselves, to do more research, they choose to remain in their stagnation, which is it's upon them. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see everybody up in here. It really is. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reading. Like I said, definitely coming back. I'm not going nowhere. Raining. I was already walking around in the rain. I am not attempting to get any more of there. Whatever was coming down in that rain in me. Doing pretty good getting it all out. How many of y'all know about, I was thinking about, with me having to buy my daughter a gun. I'm going to do that next month. I was supposed to be heading out to Rondo, but I'm supposed to be going to Tijuana next week in Rondo. I was going to call you and let you know. Yep, supposed to be going to Tijuana to see a good friend of mine who retired from the military. Him and his wife are down there. They got about 150 acres. They got a good team, a lot of ex-veterans. Wants me to come down and hang out, see his moms. Moms are still alive, yeah, he's a little younger. Good brother. Good brother. So, but I'm still going to make my way out there. But anyway, you know, this brother, Dr. Bobby Price, he has this 14-day herbal detox. Now, I've actually talked to 3 people on Instagram who have utilized it. They even showed me them. One of them's doing it right now. He's on like day number 12 or 11. And he's like, yo, bro. And I was like, look, man, I know about all the herbs and stuff. He says, this is well put together. Because this guy's got a farm and everything, guys. You can visit it. I think it's in Texas, right? Anyway, I got to look more into it. I'm not sure. So don't quote me on that. I was thinking about getting it, but not broke. I just have reasons of what I'm doing. So I'm not here to express my finances. But for $100, even though I'm getting a percentage off because I subscribed and everything, I don't know. I mean, I'm utilizing some things now, like mushrooms and stuff like that. Carefully, I've been doing this. But I still, every once in a while, I like to have a slice of pizza. You know what I'm saying? which I need to completely stop. You know what I mean? But as far as the holistic, because you got to remember, he had a heart attack, just like a few other individuals who've been utilizing his stuff, and the doctors can't find nothing. The heart muscle regenerated, the parasites and all that. So I'm saying this just in case any of you want to go ahead and get involved in it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looks like. Okay, you can go ahead. Let me tap on the picture. My apologies. Let's see if it all. Let's see if I can enlarge it. Here we go. That's 14. There's also a 30 day, I think, or 28 day. Now I have stuff I can show you I'm scared to even drink the thing because I don't need to be stuck around the toilet. You know what I'm saying? And one time I did that stuff on the race. Well, I was like, I wasn't going nowhere, breaking sweats. I mean, I pushed everything, but mama's pancakes from my child when I was a little, when I was a young little jit about me. I'm serious, y'all. I was reaching out, pulling stuff from the past about my gut, and I was, listen here now, all right? And I'm talking about like bringing the fan in and pushing it and directing it to system. I was like, what is that coming about? I mean, now I ain't that jacked up. That's why I said, let me stop eating all these Navajo tacos and fried bread and all that crap. Because what I realized, I was messing with my insulin. I was messing with my testosterone that was pretty freaking high at the time still. And a number of other things. And looking at the time frame that I was eating, I realized that was not beneficial. So I'm thinking about looking into this, but I'm not going to purchase it. I might wait a month or two. And yeah, so, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to share that with y'all in case you might be thinking about, I've got a little extra around my waistline and which is nothing wrong with that. Be happy with who you are, regardless of what they've done. I'm happy with who you are. But it's always good to have a very good flush. And remember me talking about Himalayan salt and Dead Sea magnesium and stuff like that? Not Himalayan, but Dead Sea magnesium and all those, and different things to bathe in with hot water, very hot water. You might have to boil a couple of big things of water because the water's got to be very hot. And then you put a magnesium in, you got to let it wait for a minute or two. Once it's stirred in really good, you get in there, your body soaks that magnesium up. It does your body phenomenal. Okay? So these things are important. We know that there are bad things in the water. If you can't afford the $10, $20, or $30,000 water treatment or water, where you live at, because a lot of these so-called rich people, they have even up to 100,000. Like their water is like mineralized and the best. I mean, they could sell it and probably sell about a thing of PBS free water for like $100, a gallon. If that was, and that's the crazy thing. Snow, you remember back in the 70s and the 80s when everybody was talking about, watch, soon they're going to have us buying water. Because we were still drinking from the hose and the sink. Nobody was drinking no bottled damn water. Nobody. We were all healthy too. And I think the only thing that they were putting in it was fluoride and chlorine, and I think some small amounts of traces of bleach. And that was to make sure that the parasites that were beneficial to you and crucial to the gut health were dead. So you was getting pure chemicals and stuff to cause effect on your pineal, even your eyesight, your taste bud, your silica, whether it be in your upper thoracic, your lungs and your tongue, the silica. That's what those little hairy things are. Okay? And there was to burn and mess with your taste. And so they've changed that many times over. That's why I tell people, this government is fake. I'm surprised so many people listen to it. And you have all these police officers going bald because they're on TRT and gear. They're not going to live to be old. None of them. Any of them on that crap? None of them. Because the stuff is different from what was used in the 60s and 70s. Joe Weider's team was giving Arnold and all those guys that stuff that they were using that was made from cadavers. That was real, and it wasn't abused by them. And you see, most of them had to have heart surgery even after in their 60s and 70s. You get where I'm coming from? So anyway, in order to change, you have to change everything. How you look at things, You have to steep yourself and base yourself on the continents and context of who you are. Can nobody else? I can't tell you who you should be or who you should become, but I can inform you that you really need to get invested in yourself. And I ain't talking about lipstick, mascara, base, and compounds all over your face, and weaves, and spray paint on your hair, and lineups, and all that crap. Let your hair grow. Keep it neat and prim, depending on your work. If you're outgoing, be marginal with the people you surround yourself with, because that negates the energy that you're around. If you're not strong, it has a cause and effect. All right? So, it's now or never, y'all. Because if you don't do it now, you're never going to be able to. And you'll never be able to pass it on to your children, for those who respect where they came from and what they went through. And I know we have liberal-minded individuals going, I don't know how to go to that, because I'm looking at all these sickly women going, yay, I think some are bots. Yay for standing up. We don't have to. We can have abortions. And all I ever say is Margaret Sanger much. Margaret Sanger much. Rockefeller much. Soros much. You know what I'm saying? Schwab much. And they don't get it. So I appreciate y'all listening in. I hope I shared enough. We'll be back in about 6:30, 7. Nice evening read. It's Friday night. If you're not going out, we're gonna read a little bit. We're gonna break in that emerald tablet. I'm only doing the 100 years of lynching. Just there's so many in there, guys. And I have stuff that's not even in there. I'm not gonna read that to y'all, because that you gotta really get it together for those. And I know you're saying, but that's you reading, people writing. No. This is to the minute details when you hear a 14-year-old little girl talking about how she enjoyed how the skin cracked. And hey, listen, man, look, like I got some stuff, man, I can read to you. It really mess your head up. We're not here to further their campaign of messing with your brains, because a lot of you think you're strong. Please. A lot of you think you're fighters. Please. You know, there's a top CIA guy. A lot of them have used drugs. Remember my friend who made it to the FBI and he decided to become a police officer? He's a police officer here. He's a young guy on the team, but I love the brother. He's a good dude. Ex-military. I'm not gonna say his branch. He realized that, you know, even though he got it in there, because you can smoke weed, you could have done cocaine. They have, as long as you can get in there and you're honest and you're willing and capable to do the job required and go through the Q course and all that stuff, you know. But like I said, I know some people, and there are people who share and make me know about everything going around me, and they probably shouldn't. But so this individual single-handedly killed like 200 enemies, but they're not really enemies. You got to remember, this is all construct. Now, there's some badasses out there, but everybody suffers. So don't you people in your little neighborhoods and your suburbs and your ghettos come over here thinking that you're some really bad butts. Instead of breaking down yourself, removing all that negative and deplorable state you're in, and build yourself up into what you're truly supposed to be, as a powerhouse, a source of not just information, but have a full recall. Because there's some things you're going to realize, but I can't say that. And you won't even have to even mention it. But you'll know what direction you need to go in and how you need to deal with things. Doesn't mean that things can't happen. But word to the wise, you'll be wiser. And you'll deal with things differently, okay? Differently. All right? So I think the well water was our fountain of youth. Most of us still look like we in high school, minus the gray. I know, right? It's crazy. And even though I was a powerlifter, I keep telling people, it's all right for women to have full faces, but most of us men, we had narrow, our faces were not full. They were sunken, and they fit. We were built differently. Some of us, like, I know I should be about 6'2", but everybody knows my history. Besides the pain of child abuse, it's that's growth, starvation, blood circulation is being cut off. You know, I almost had my life taken, and I wasn't meant to be. That's all I can say to that. And even at 5'10", you know, and I grew an inch at 25 years old. I was 5'9.25". So, and now I got scoliosis. The military took me with scoliosis. Dead serious, y'all. So that's just to let you know. You can't really, you would have to like be like this even to see, because I've been working on it for so long, you know, to straighten it up. But it's just what it is. You can't be getting beat and whipped and suffocated. Your mama's sitting on your back, contorting you and pulling your legs up and all kind of weird, you know. You dig what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all taking the time. Thank you for the donations. I believe I hollered out the young brother earlier. There's a couple more bookstores. I said I want to hit Las Vegas, and I definitely want to hit Salt Lake City, Utah. And those I'm definitely gonna go live. I've been in the one over in Savannah. I like that bookstore. That's in the shopping center. It's phenomenal. But when I got an appointment coming up soon. Well, not too soon, but when I go over there, I will share with you guys that and let you see some of the books and stuff. I might even check. You don't have to check them, take some look at it and see if I want to even purchase it. And yeah, it'll be a nice little trip. All right. So there's nothing I can do about Flagstaff. Walden bookstore's gone, and the two I went to was like, one didn't want me to record, and I was like, bye for you, bitch. Anyway, and the other one, excuse my French, but I shouldn't be saying that, but that's how she act. Goddamn. But the other one, there was a few books, but I was like, I like to be like, you know, I'm in Wonderland when it comes to books. Like, I run over here. Ooh, I can cross-reference that one with that one over there. Oh, it's there. Oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you was a crackhead and you go to like 12 crack dealers and you like, Johnny and Daryl and Walik has, oh, no, but Bobby over there got, oh, you got to sample this rock, you know, Sue. Oh, Tom, check this one out. You know, no, man, that's how I am in a bookstore. You dig? Anywho, appreciate you guys. Number of respect and love. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know what to do. Don't be lazy. Y'all have those wrenches for a reason. Okay? Thank you, Snoo. Love you, baby. I'm gonna holler at y'all in a couple hours and we'll get it in. All right? I shouldn't even have to say nothing. Sometimes you can ask them, what do you mean? And if they can't elaborate and they want to be retarded, like who gives a fuck? You know. It's good. Because like I said, I'm not here for the masses. I can care less about bots, Sophia, whatever the damn name is, or any idiot or agent that come in here feeling some kind of monkey ass way. Okay? You subscribe. Okay, but you're asking about something that means nothing. I've done a whole discussion about something that should be pertinent to something, unless you know everything. And if you know anything, you're more than welcome when we have a podcast to come on and share your interpretation of everything. And that way we can elevate people and bring people to a better place. You dig what I'm saying? I'm only here for a handful of people. And the 10% of that will run with whatever I've got to say, and I have a story to tell. So you either know what to say, you can sit there and listen, or you can go on about your thing. I'm not looking for people who are effeminate, who are worried about drama and things that are unfulfilling and have nothing to do with anything, especially in this time. And if you're an agent, maybe you need to go back and have them. And if you're not, or if you're here to learn, silencio. It's no hate. I have no feelings or emotions. I don't care. Seriously, I don't. So, I wouldn't give a fuck. ATF, what? You're homosexual, bro? So you work for the underparty, the underground? If they was really smart, they'd tell you to don't fuck around. I wouldn't care if you was a block over. Okay? Don't be a fucking retard. See the laws, your fake laws. I don't recognize this government, nor have I ever recognized you motherfuckers on this land. Never. It's your made-up world and everything else that goes with it. I wouldn't give a fuck if you were standing next to somebody 40 feet goddamn tall or a motherfucker moving a foot tall. Anyway, I will see y'all later. These retarded motherfuckers.